What's up, everybody? Bradley with the Insurance Guys podcast here. Before we get started with this episode, I want to talk to you about this week's sponsor. If you pay any attention to the independent agency channel, you know there's no hotter buzzword right now than VAs or virtual assistants. This week's sponsor, I'm proud to say, is Coverdesk, who offers an innovative client solution for agencies to outsource client-facing VAs. Created by agency veteran Andy Priesman, owner of Greenway Insurance. People, this is not your typical VA company. They offer a proven system of recruiting highly educated virtual assistants, ensuring consistent performance for your agency. With their experience, they're able to help you design a program that is just right for you and your agency. They implement by onboarding and training each VA in foundational insurance skills. Visit Coverdesk on the web at www.coverdesk.com or email them at hello@coverdesk.com, or you can call them and tell them that the Insurance Guys sent you. Please do at 512-879-3345. Guys, give Coverdesk a ring. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Saraland, Alabama. Parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is a fantastic insurance agent and a great American. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the incomparable Mr. Bradley Flowers. How are you, Bradley?
Great, Scott. How are you today?
Best I've ever been. I am so excited to be here. Bradley can attest to this fact. When I have a guest on this podcast who is high energy, creative, and can talk and teach our agency folks, the 250,000 insurance agents listening and watching this, something that they did not know or understand. I'm an excited kid. I'm like a kid at Christmas, and I am fired up about our guest today, guys. Our mission on this podcast is to help you agents any way we can. If you get through listening to this podcast and you learn one or two things that you can take away, go back to your office and implement in your agency, then I have succeeded in my mission on this podcast. Bradley, I am ready to introduce our guest today. She is originally from Tallahassee, Florida. She currently resides in Auburn, Alabama. She is married to the handsome, ruggedly handsome Kurt, and she has 3 boys, Connor, Colt, and Wells. She is a realtor and marketing director at Roots Real Estate Investment Development in Auburn, Alabama, and she sells the shit out of real estate in the Auburn market. Now, before I go ahead and introduce her, I want everybody to go to her website, which I have studied the way that the Discovery Channel studies meerkats, www.sweethomeauburnal.com. Let me say that again, www.sweethomeauburnal.com. And I want you to see some of what she's doing out there. Love her website. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor to introduce to you today, first-time guest on the Insurance Guys podcast, Miss Amy Cotney. How are you, Amy?
I am good. What an introduction.
Well,
I don't know.
It's the introduction you deserved your entire life.
I mean, roll out the red carpet. Jeez.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Amy, before we get started today, I have a confession to make. When Bradley sent me the schedule of who we were podcasting with today, I had no idea who Amy Cotney was. I was like, who is Amy Cotney and why is she on our podcast? And then as I started going on and Facebook stalking you and doing some other things, as soon as I saw who you were, I thought, and this is the reach that you have now, okay? As soon as I saw your picture, who you were on Facebook, I thought, oh my God, I have been following this lady on social media for about a year and a half. Now, never commented on anything you've done, but I just remember when I would see things from you on like Facebook and Instagram, I remember thinking, I know a lot of people in Auburn, and I don't know Amy Cotney, but whatever you were doing, it was the pictures and the videos you were posting. I thought, she's got that it factor, whatever that it factor is. And then I went to your website this morning, because I wanted to find out some more on you. And the stuff that you're doing with the little action figure that's dancing at the beginning of your website,
Yes.
that's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So welcome to the show today. We love you, and we appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited about being here.
First and foremost, before we dive into what you've been able to do in Auburn, and you're not even from Auburn, you're a transplant, how did you get so creative? Or is it something that you've just always had since you were a little girl, where you just have that creative gene in you to do different things and to be more that artistic soul? Where did you develop that?
I don't think I was always creative. It wasn't, I think I got it during college. That's where I think that I figured out my little niche in college. But yes, I've always had like a creative side to me. I've gone to the tune of my own drummer, and I'm a serial entrepreneur for sure. I've had 2 brick and mortars. I started a business from zero, an idea in my head, to probably one of my most proud things that I've ever done. Everybody goes, "Oh, you must be really proud of yourself for doing well in real estate." No, when you take a little something that you get in your head and you make it a big thing, that's one of my more aha moments that I had. And that was all done through a lot of social media and marketing.
So what we try to do for these insurance agents, I think, translates well to some of the stuff that you've been able to do. You moved to Auburn. I'm going to assume you did not know very many people in Auburn when you got there.
Zero.
I've lived in Auburn. I know a lot of people in Auburn. Auburn is kind of a cliquey place. There's always the people that have been in Auburn, grew up in Auburn. What did you do once you got there and decided that you're going to do real estate down there? What was the first thing you did to kind of get your name out there and make a splash through social media?
Well, so I moved to Auburn in 2004, and I started real estate in 2016. But between 2004 and 2016, I wasn't in Auburn full time. That's a whole nother story that we won't go in. When I started in 2016, there was like 600 other realtors, and again, I hadn't been in Auburn even during that time, like the 2004 to 2016. I wasn't in Auburn full time, so I was in here and out. So I didn't have any friends. I just had the boys around and everything, my kids. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to make a splash. I'm really good at making a splash. That's kind of my thing. So nobody was really doing social media with their real estate at that time like I do social media. They were maybe putting up a house, on Facebook. This house just listed 329, 5-bedroom, 3-bath. And that is so far off, like nothing I would ever post. So I went in doing the only thing that I knew how to do, and that's just to be myself and be authentic. So I would go in like standing in front of a house that wasn't my listing, but saying, "I'm in here, this house is for sale, it's 5." And I go on, I do video, because back this was like 5 years ago when I started this. I've been full time 4 years, and so this was like 2016, exactly this time. Nobody was doing video. There's still not a whole lot of people doing video like I do video. So that's kind of what put me in a different category. And of course, at first it was like, that lady's crazy. What is she doing? And now it's like, I was just telling my son, I get phone calls. "Hey, can you promote my page? Can you share this? Can you do that? Can you do this?" Because at first it wasn't taken too well, because you just said it. Auburn's very cliquey, and they want you to be a certain way, act a certain way. And my nickname is called the Rogue Realtor. So I'm going to do it differently.
So one thing I've noticed about your videos, let's go back to your website. So once you pass you as an avatar dancing all over the home screen, the next screen in the center of the screen is a very high quality video, and it's you explaining all the things that you love about Auburn.
Yes.
So instead of you creating this video and trying to tell people all the reasons they need to do business with you or why you're the greatest real estate agent in Auburn. It's more of a homage, if you will, to Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah.
And where did you come up with that? Is that just your style?
It's my style. I don't go in and I don't cold call. I don't go in and just say, I want to be a realtor. I want to be a realtor. I go into the back door at all the time. I'm out there a lot, but I'm out there for face recognition. Like, oh, that's Amy. If anybody in this town doesn't know I sell real estate, then I'm not doing my job, because I'm out there all the time doing something for the community. But for me, it's not about, I never want to be that, lack of better terms, this is not a good one, cheesy. Hi, I'm Amy. I'm a realtor. I would love to sell your house. That is so freaking cringy to me. So that's what I do. I kind of go in the back door on everything I do.
So what do you mean by, I just want to make sure I understand what you mean by the back door. Are you talking about building a relationship with somebody? Maybe they've seen your stuff, maybe they haven't, but building that relationship with them through talking about one of your videos or something like that. And through that, you end up getting the listing. Is that
exactly? If I can show people that I can market myself, my house that I'm selling, without being in your face and calling them, hey, if you ever want to sell your house, I'm your person. Hey, I think people get turned off by that. So if I can show them what I do, and I do it really well. I have a videographer. I have a photographer. So all my stuff looks really good and clean. And I'm pretty much very OCD anal about that. I'm not anal about a lot of things, but when it comes to it being and presenting a certain way, it's got to look good.
Give me your 3 rules. So a couple things I've taken from this, and I noticed this when I first started kind of watching you a year and a half ago. Your stuff was very clean, meaning I could tell the pictures that you were posting of yourself and the videos, both. They were very clean. They were very, very high quality, 4K type images. When Bradley scheduled you to be on this podcast, I didn't know who you were. I didn't know when I saw your name, I was like, I don't know who Amy Cotney is. But once I saw you, I thought, okay, there's some things I've seen her do that translate to the insurance industry. One thing I've noticed is when you take a picture, let's say it's in front of a house, clean image, very high quality. There's usually flowers, or you're in a pair of like overalls, barefooted with like, it's a unique image that when people see it, they kind of catches their eye.
Yeah, that's marketing. I learned early on that insurance, same as real estate, you got to brand yourself. You want people to work with you. So that's kind of what I've done. I branded myself. I'm lucky. I live in Auburn, Alabama. There's a lot of people that take great photography. They want to take my pictures, and I have a videography school I can call on anytime I want to. So I have a lot of people I can pull from. But I think images and how you present yourself. Now, you won't ever see me wearing high heel shoes in a very like tight fitting Ann Taylor whatever dress. I present myself as who I am. It might be a pair of funky flare jeans or some kind of funky outfit, but that's who I am. I stay in my lane, because if I were not to stay in my lane and I would try to be somebody else, that does not work. People read through that in a second with being fake. But I think that people want to work with you. If you are authentic and real, they want to work with you. That's just how it is.
So what are your rules in your head, whether you've ever written these down or not, when you've got one of your videographers out there and you're trying to create a video that you're going to post to Facebook or your website? What are some of the rules that you, in your mind, you're thinking that, okay, we got to have this, this, and this?
Okay, so you said, oh, Amy, you're a creative. Yes. So when dealing with another creative, AKA a videographer, because they should be creative, I let them do what they want to do. I don't have for me, because I'm a creative, that's me stepping on their toes and not letting them do their job. So I take any control away and let them do anything that they want to do. Same with the pictures. I just act like myself in front of the camera, and they send me what they think is best. I never have them edit it, mainly because I want them to still be real. If I think that they've made me look non-wrinkled, I'm like, nope, don't be doing that. People are going to be thinking I'm 35 years old or something, I let the creatives be, for sure. And then I expect people to, when I go and list a house, or if I'm talking about numbers, I kind of expect people to listen to me, because that's kind of what I do all day long. So that's kind of some rules that I have. Yeah.
So from a copyright standpoint, let's go back to the video that's very well done, 4K, high quality video on your website. Now, the videographers filming that did a fantastic job, by the way, captured a lot of what I call the essence of Auburn in a lot of ways. But your voice and your copyright and what you're saying is you. You can tell it's your voice. You're the one talking. Are you writing out a script of what you're going to overlay over that video, or are you just winging it?
No, I wing everything. I mean, I'm a big winger. But on that particular stuff, I did write that one out. But I wrote it in my words, and it was in my words, yeah.
So next question, and this is the main reason we're here today, one of them, TikTok. Insurance agents have not really, to my knowledge, dove into TikTok. I will tell you, just spirit of transparency here, I am on TikTok. I took a video at the beach about 3 weeks ago that has now gotten up to 110,000 views.
Woo! You're almost TikTok famous.
Almost. 300 and some odd comments. And I'd have to look and see, I don't know how many likes. Tell me what you've done with TikTok that has, I think we talked offline about how, maybe it doesn't help your business directly, but people are starting to recognize you from TikTok.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm a big believer. Well, first of all, I'm a Gary V follower. Okay. Yeah. So, that's kind of why I'm on TikTok right there. Quarantined, and I will listen to Tea with Gary V every single morning, but I do listen to him anyway. So it's like, get on TikTok. I mean, I'm on Instagram. Let me tell everybody too, all of my sales from real estate, I would say 90%, and it was 80 to 90% all come off of social media. It's either Facebook. People see me on Facebook, Instagram. My Instagram is huge. I get people that look up hashtag. So any insurance person out there, I totally recommend you doing this. You got to make it a little bit fun and entertaining, which is a little bit difficult sometimes. Even with real estate, it can be boring. But your hashtags on there are so important. So people look up realtor in Auburn, Alabama, real estate in Auburn, Alabama. And same thing with insurance wherever you live. Like I sold a house this month off of somebody finding me from Nashville, Tennessee on Instagram and I said, how did you find me? Oh, I used hashtag realtor in Auburn. So that was a $600,000 house. So you guys most of the time our commission is 2.5 or something like that. That's a lot of money for not putting any money into. I do not boost or do ads on Instagram. So just it's persistent, it's hashtagging correctly, and it's keeping your brand the same. There. Okay, I said that. I'm sorry. Back to TikTok, because that's what we're here for.
No. I was going to get to all this, so this is good. Hey, before we get to TikTok, since we kind of got off on this, when you say persistent, how many times a day do you feel like you post on Instagram and Facebook?
This is just me, because I know how I am personally. I'm going to post one post a day on my Instagram. And now I have a business, because legally as a realtor, we have to have a business Facebook page and a business Instagram page. So I'll post on each one of those one time a day. Now, Instagram stories, I could have 10 little posts on my Instagram stories, because that's super easy. Also with that, I hashtag if I'm out to eat, which of course I don't go out to eat very much anymore, but if I'm at a store, I hashtag that just to get people to know that you know what's going on in your area and you know what's going on in the community. And that's what like Bradley is wanting me to talk about, I'm sure. I do a lot of sharing about the community, and that's kind of set me apart from everybody else as well. I feel like my job is more than just selling a home. It's like selling a community.
When you say one post a day on Facebook, is that one post on your Facebook business page that you then share over to your personal page, or is it one and one?
It's one, and they're both different. I do not post the same thing on Instagram as I do Facebook. Yes, it's a lot of work. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's a big fat pain in the ass, but I do it. because your audience is completely different. Your
Yeah.
audience on Facebook, you guys should be a little bit more local. Your audience on Instagram, you all, like I have followers from Peru, so you're or in California and all that. So there's two different audiences, and they want to see two different things. And besides, if you're posting the same thing, that is completely boring. I very rarely share from my business to my personal. Shared posts don't get as much views. If y'all didn't know that, but that is the truth. And Facebook does not really give you a whole lot of views for shared posts.
You're saying if you post something to your Facebook business page, you do not share that to your personal page?
Not very much.
But you do post 2 separate posts to those pages each day?
Yep.
And are these high quality images and videos?
You really have to play with it a little bit, because for me, videos right now are working really well on Instagram, but not as much on Facebook. Which is weird, because sometimes it flips back and forth. But that's what's been going on for me personally. It could be me with my iPhone running around in a shower. People like to see movement. So that's what Instagram catches, that movement really quick. And it can be a 20-second video really quickly. It could be something like that. But right now for me, movement in Instagram is working. And then the pictures telling a story has been working really well for me on Facebook. If I can intertwine and pull at the heartstrings in a story on Facebook, people eat that up, whether it be going to the beach, to the lake, something like that, family right now, something like that. I am never talk about politics, ever, not even on my personal one, or never talk about religion, because immediately if I do that, I'm going to lose customers. It's honest to God truth. I mean, it is. If you're fine with that, and that's fine, but I stay extremely neutral, and I'm not a neutral person. So it takes a lot of me to biting my tongue, but I do it because that's just kind of what it's about. I try not to rock the boat with those two subjects.
So when you post to Instagram, do you always post something and then where it says, do you want to add this to your story? Do you always do that, or are those 2 separate posts for you?
2 separate posts.
Okay. Why is that? Does that just seem to work better?
Mm-hmm. I mean, people get bored of the same thing. So I usually do, when you're posting on your page on Instagram, it needs to be pretty good these days. I mean, Instagram is saturated. Everything is saturated right now because everybody's been home and on social media so much. So it can't be just some lame picture I don't know. I see a lot of people and I'm going, why would you post that? Little tiny pictures, maybe of you driving around with somebody, could go on your story, but it needs to be a pretty good post for it to go on your main page. Does that make sense?
It does. Do you ever, on any post on any of those 2 platforms, ever do the whole, hi, my name's Amy and call me for your real estate needs at all?
No.
It's just you either living your day, or you've gotten a photographer or a video. Now, is your photographer and videographer, are they with you every day?
No, they're not. So what I'll do with my photographer is we'll go for 2 hours. I'm very quick, and we'll take once every 6 weeks, take a crap load of pictures, and then she dumps them to me, and then I'll pepper them in with other stuff.
You changing outfits over the 2 hours?
And sometimes not. It really depends. It's like I could be running around Auburn, just different places in Auburn doing things. I can be at my favorite bar, my restaurant. We'll go in and take pictures. My videographer, he's been quarantined up in North Alabama. And so that's why I started going on TikTok, because he wasn't around to video me. He and I do 4 to 5 really good videos a month. When I say that, it could be I have a really good listing coming up, or I want to tell a story like I did for my website thing. We'll do 3 or 4 like that. We'll go tailgating in Auburn, something that people are interested in. And I use him for that kind of stuff. On a daily basis, I try to do little clip-its with my phone.
Are you mainly with the videographer, you said 4 really good, so that's 1 video a week, basically, professionally videography done. Are most of those y'all are using his video and then you're overriding it with your copyright or your voice, what you're saying?
The one that you saw on my website, I've only done 2 of those. So yeah, he just does the videos. I've only done 2 of those like that.
Right. Okay. Everything else is kind of whatever he's videoing. That audio is being used in the video.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to TikTok now.
Okay.
What's our rules of becoming TikTok famous?
If you guys listen to Gary Vee, he'll say post 3 a day. Well, that's a lot of TikToks to post. So in quarantine time, when I was drinking wine every afternoon, I was having myself a large old time on TikTok, you know. I kept on doing that mainly because I can download, you can do cute stuff with that and then download it to your phone and then post it over on Instagram. And I needed that content because I did not have any content at all because I was stuck in a cabin for a month. I couldn't go anywhere. So I did a video with my husband, who is a very good dancer. I am not. And we did one, and it freaking just blew up. I mean, it was like crazy. I don't even know how many views it has now, almost 8 million views on it. And then I went from like 222 followers to 100,000 followers overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. So now I'm almost at 300,000 followers. And I post maybe 5 times a week. And I have, and on that you do hashtags as well, but you don't hashtag realtor, or you wouldn't hashtag, you could, but you're not going to get anybody. You wouldn't hashtag insurance guys because nobody is looking for that on TikTok. The
Right.
good thing about TikTok and the wonderful thing about TikTok is if you can get a couple of good videos in, people are going to start recognizing you. And do you have to get out there and do hoochie mama dances? No, you don't. You can do it. There's so many different things that you can do on TikTok. But the awesome thing about TikTok is you can do a video with music in the background and then download it and put it on your Instagram or your Facebook.
Right.
That's what I was doing during quarantine. And that's kind of how it helped me grow my business during quarantine. I was doing like funny, stupid little videos of helping stay-at-home moms school their kids by measuring out wine in a glass, like little things that have nothing to do with real estate, but trying to be joyful and happy because everybody was not joyful and happy during that time. I sat back, I'll tell you this, the first week of when everything hit, COVID hit, I sat back and watched what everybody was doing on, like, just, I didn't post very much. I sat back and I'm like, all right, well, people need happy. That's how the whole TikTok thing started. And I will tell you that is still what people want. They want happy. And that is what the biggest thing. I mean, it can be a smile. I mean, kind words back and forth. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It has to be happy.
What is your TikTok handle? What do you use?
It's Amy Barton Cotney.
Spell Barton.
Barton.
And do you do Twitter at all?
I do Twitter maybe one, because that's so like right there. You know, if it's something going on with Auburn basketball or very much news related, then yes, I'll do it because it helps with the search engine optimization, SEOs. So, I mean, I have to have my 5 platforms that look exactly alike. I know you don't, if you guys don't know to do that, I'm sure you probably do.
How do you make them all look exactly alike?
You have to have the same address. It has to be put in exactly correctly the same way. Like it couldn't say Amy Cotney. It needs to say Amy Barton Cotney, whatever the other ones have. So that's why I have my Twitter. I do not use Twitter unless it's something really good about Auburn and it's trending. But for me, it just helps. If I pull up my name, my Twitter account will pull up. That's why I have Twitter. But I have 5 different social media accounts that are all with the same address, the same phone number, all that kind of stuff, all goes together. That way, when people look up your name, it pulls up a lot more information about you.
So every handle, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all those are the same name.
Yep.
Gotcha. So if you don't ever ask anybody to buy from you, do you ever post videos or pictures of houses, or is it just you in the house talking and, posting something? How does that work? Because, all these real estate agents want to post a Facebook post of, are you looking for a house in Vestavia, Alabama? And they post the house with 12 pictures or whatever.
And isn't it boring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't do that very much because it's boring. Unless I have a kick-in house somewhere, Lake Martin or something like that. And I'm like, woo! I did a video today of a Lake Martin house. I'm not in that video, but I did have a model. If I have a house that I think is hard to sell, I'll just put a girl in a bikini in. Hey, you know,
Whatever works.
something that I do a coming soon video, and it can be a 20-second video of somebody playing basketball or football in the front yard, throwing a ball to a dog, and it's the outside of the house. I don't usually go on the inside of the house very much with my videos because, again, people are ADD. I mean, they get bored. So I try to keep, I usually have people in the videos and there's life in the videos. If I have a listing, I'll go in without my videographer usually. Now, I'll tell you this. I did one that was really good. I had this house ugly. And there's like no way. I was like, this is a waste of time. So I hid a bunch of White Claws. Everybody know what a White Claw is?
Yeah.
So I hid a bunch of White Claws in the house, and I'm like, okay, you guys tell me how many White Claws are. Look over this video. Tell me how many White Claws are in the house. Whoever gets the most gets a case of White Claws. Whoever gets the right answer gets a case of White Claws. Everybody watched that video to the end, because on Facebook you can tell if they watched it to the end or not.
Right.
So that was like the most stupid, random idea that I had, and it worked. So everybody else there was like, will you do a White Claw video again?
Do you think that goes back to, just from a psychological standpoint, that movement that you were talking about earlier, where people were following the camera to pick up where the White Claws were? Or?
Yeah, and it's different. I mean, that's one reason why when I started, I knew I had to niche myself as being a little bit different than what everybody else does. And so you think the girl in the Talbot's outfit's going to go around hiding White Claws in a house? No.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, God honest truth, that video sold the house. So, I mean, it's just, you got to figure out weird, different angles of things of how to grab that attention from people.
Do you ever do LinkedIn at all?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I do LinkedIn. I was doing it like at least 2 or 3 posts a week. I did 2 posts last week. One was about another business in Auburn that's kicking some ass right now. I love giving shout outs to other businesses. That's my thing. That's my jam, because I'm an entrepreneur, and brick and mortar is rough right now. So I really enjoy going around. Also, that kind of makes me the social mayor of the town. I'm known as that as well. I think that's very important. I mean, that's an easy thing for any insurance guy to do as well. Make what's going on in town. And so that's kind of my little game as well. But on Instagram, not on Instagram, on LinkedIn as well. Yeah. I will say I probably haven't gotten as many, I haven't gotten any messages. Hey, Amy, I'm coming into town. I saw you on LinkedIn. But I get a lot of views from my LinkedIn, because you can see that.
Do you ever interview business owners in Auburn, like someplace that you think's fantastic?
All the time.
Like on Facebook Live or something? Is that what you do?
Usually I do it with my videographer, and I kind of do it as a mini commercial for them, the business. So yeah, it costs me money to do it for them, but guess what? They share it on their Facebook, and then they see me, and it gets shared a lot. Or, I mean, that's what I do. Is I put that in my marketing budget as far as dollars spent. But yeah, I do that. I do a really good video for them usually, with B-roll and all that kind of stuff. So.
Wow. Does Auburn University ever let you take anything of theirs, like basketball team practicing or football players coming out of the tunnel or anything?
No, my son is a videographer. And he actually does stuff for Auburn University. He was my first videographer, and then he fired me.
Yeah, right. Creative differences?
No, people actually paid him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he does that. But no, Auburn, I'm probably too much for Auburn University. I'm not very conservative. So
I understand.
Again, I stay in my lane.
I could see you getting in the doghouse with them pretty quick.
Yeah, hence the fact I don't work for Auburn. I'm like, what rules? That's not going to work.
I think Auburn and Alabama both, from a message and what gets put out there, are pretty conservative with making sure what's being put out there is put out there by them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had my differences with other brokerages as well. I mean, I was with a very conservative brokerage kind of when I first started, and yeah, they didn't like all my little things that I do. So I had to go to another brokerage pretty quickly. But, you have to find your place that you fit in too. So.
Right. Well, Amy, you have been a wealth of knowledge today.
I hope so.
In fact,
Oh, one other question I had for you. Do you ever do any Facebook advertising at all?
I do. Yeah. I worked Facebook and I've worked together, and sometimes I haven't used them recently because I kind of know what to do now. But I guess I was doing really well. My business page does pretty well on Facebook. They worked with me for a couple months on teaching me how to create my own ads. So I do that. Yeah. Usually everything I do, if it's a really good post or something, I will do an ad, and I run it for Facebook. Wants you to run it for like 2 weeks, and it can be $5 a day. Also, if you do a Facebook ad, just so you know, because I've been talking to Facebook experts, the thing is that they like that 15-second video, and that does the best. So my very first video with Facebook that I did with them was, have you ever seen those guys with houses where they can throw like 5 bricks up at the same time?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I had them in the background for movement, and I was out there talking about new construction in the front. It was a 15-second video, and it killed it. And the guy from Facebook was like completely shocked. But again, it says that little bit of movement that you have to have just to capture the eyes. Same thing with TikTok, same thing with Instagram.
Yeah. That is extremely interesting. How in the world did you get hooked up with Facebook? Was that something, did they reach out to you?
Yes. I guess I was like their guinea pig or something.
Goodness gracious, woman.
It didn't cost me any money except for I spent advertising money, but I didn't even spend that much. I went back and I was like, golly, I didn't even spend that much money, but I got a lot of a wealth of knowledge from them because they change things all the time as well.
These insurance agents are like, yeah, whatever, Amy, Cotney. And I'm like, hell, Facebook's reaching out to her, wanting to partner with her. Are they doing that with you? Because last time I checked, they weren't.
I'm just telling you, social media for me works. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
since I'm on it right now, people ask me too. You ask me how many times a day I post. I think timing of posts are very important.
Yes.
So some people will go, it doesn't matter what time. I call bullcrap on that. It does matter what time, because if you are not, you've got to get in people's heads, like when are they in front of their Instagram? When are they in front of their Facebook? Usually it's at night after 7 or right when they get up in the morning, they're looking at it. So if you've got a great post and you spent money on it, do not post that at 11 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon when everybody's off drinking beer.
Does that go across all platforms, that strategy?
Yes.
What time at night's perfect? Like 7 o'clock?
7 is the golden hour for sure. Yeah. And that's on TikTok too. Well, TikTok will tell you, hey, your people are looking at you from 7 to 11. So, I mean, that just goes to tell me that, like, even on Instagram too, if I post in the at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to get as much. Right. So just be smart about it, especially if you're spending money on something. Be smart about it, and don't, if you're paying somebody to do your social media, you make sure they're doing it right, because they'll go, oh, they could just go in the office at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to post this. Make sure, I mean, you're spending a lot of money on that. Make sure it's done right.
Right.
Sorry, I had to get on that tangent. I apologize.
This is unbelievable. If I'm an insurance agent right now, I've got carpal tunnel writing all this down right now, because I'm serious. You have cracked the code on a lot of things here. This is amazing. I'm trying to think if there's any other, because I have so many questions for you. I think you do a lot of things really well. I mean, I knew who you were, and I don't know you, and I didn't even know your name, but I'd seen somehow, some way, probably through some algorithm, I had seen some of your stuff, and I can't remember. I think I saw you on Instagram 3 or 4 times, and I started going through some of your stuff because I was like, man, and I tell you what caught my eye was the video and the picture quality was so good that I was like, man, I don't know what, she ain't doing that with an iPhone.
Mm-mm. I do a lot. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot, but I do have my arsenal, and I call that peppering in. I mean, I feel like every 6 posts or something like that needs to be something really good. And that's why I love Bradley too, because he is himself and he's real. And I think that people like that, he's not all stuffy. I feel like you guys need to stay in your lane and be who you are, and people will fall in love with that and want to work with you.
Tell our audience, since you got videographers coming out of your ears down there, how do you even start to find a videographer? Local community college or college? Or
Auburn. So after my son, when I first started, my son was like, I'm getting into video and sure it would be great if you would buy me a camera. So I was like, okay, so I can write that off. So I did. And he and I did stuff together for 8 months, a year, maybe, I don't know. And then he's so good. Now he only does very fast drone flying right now, and is honing his skills on that. He found me a student in Auburn. So Auburn has a videography school. So now I just get, whenever they graduate, the next one has to leave me with somebody else.
That's really good.
From that school. Yeah. And I actually just pay them a monthly little salary. And I mean, they're in college, they're broke, they want equipment, they want a new lens. So I do it, but I mean, it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. It is a lot of work, scheduling things and getting people to do interviews with you on their coffee shop and all that kind of stuff, but it pays off. So
do you mind, if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to, because there will be a lot of people watching, listen to this. You're not going to hurt my feelings. What would you pay a videographer to do the four videos for you a month? I don't even know what you pay one. I mean, I know what we pay when we go to like Dallas, Texas, and we do a speaking engagement. We pay like $300 for like 6 or 7 hours of work.
And that's probably about right, because there's a lot of editing that goes on that they do. So I pay like $400 or $500 a month for my videos, which is cheap as crap. It's like $100 a video. But I mean, I'm also giving these kids, and here's how it works out too. They wouldn't have their arsenal of videos when they got through college, because they use my stuff. I mean, we do some really cool stuff up at the lake and everything else, drone, everything. So they get stuff, I get stuff from them, and it works out really well. But no, my son, he charges a buttload of money to go and do a house. So I hope none of the realtors in Auburn are listening to this right now.
No, they're not. The chances of a realtor in Auburn listening to the Insurance Guys podcast is probably pretty low.
Good. But yeah, I think that you know, these young kids, they really want to do that. They want to learn. So you need to find somebody that wants to learn and let them do that. I mean, they're not going to mess you up. They're going to make you look better. I promise. It's been fun.
Yeah. And it's a win-win situation for them, because, you know, they're getting paid and they get to turn that in for potentially a grade.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, all the way around, it's a win-win situation. I could see now I'm pretty pissed off because I'm upset about all these insurance agents that are in college towns like Auburn, because you've got some resources there that everybody else doesn't have.
Yeah.
You know, especially if, I mean, a videography school. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's like,
hey, they have classes. I mean, it's so easy. So I called it, I'm thinking it was the School of Communication. It's under that. I looked into Auburn. When my son fired me, I looked into Auburn. And I talked to their dean, I think. I'm like, hey, here's what I need. Do you have anybody? And so she sent me 5 names. I interviewed them and I picked out one. And then from then, they've started handing me down to the next person. And it's been worked out. They're all been guys for the videos. It's all been guys. There are a few female videographers, but not many. Every school has that now. And also that there's a lot of classes they're doing on social media. Like there'll be kids that can take over your social media for you if you want that as well. Just make sure they're doing it right. I won't let anybody touch my social media. Because I am my brand, and they can't do it. And also I want everything done in the time I want it done.
Sure.
But there's a lot of resources out there that you can use. People need money, and you can do it for cheap. You just got to know where to look.
I really do appreciate you being on the show today. I'm going to shut this thing down real quick. So, insurance agents from around the world, if you didn't get anything out of that, I don't know what to tell you to do. I mean, she basically just broke down for you how to utilize social media front to back, back to front. You realize and notice that she's never talking about selling real estate on any of her stuff that she does. If you want to follow her to see some of her work, it's Amy Barton, Barton, Cotney, Cotney. So that is her tagline. I guarantee you I'm going to be pouring over it tonight and looking at all of it. Hey guys, listen to me. Take everything I just talked about, everything Amy just talked about, implement it in your agency. Go find a videographer, get creative, go do some cool stuff. copy some of what she's doing in your agency. I know I probably will, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Thank you guys for listening today. We love all of you. We appreciate all the support and the love that you give to us, and I hope we're giving something back to you. As I always say, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today and go out into the big bad world and make money for your family, help your wife and your husband and your kids and your mom and dad, and write good business for the agencies that you represent and write good business for the companies that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
The easiest podcast ever did.
Amy, I love you too. Have a good rest of the week.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, Amy.
Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. If you need to know more about me or you need to get in touch with Scott, you can always reach me at theinsuranceguyonline.com or email me at iprotectins@gmail.com. And if you need to get in touch with Mr. Bradley Flowers, go to bradleyflowersinsurance.com or email him at bradley@saralandinsurance.com. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to being with you again real soon on the next episode of The Insurance Guys. Take care.